Okay, so let's go through 13 to the end. Just want to make sure we're getting the right A, B, and C. Here's where we're going right now. Say, surely you're going to be doing the quadratic formula, which requires you to plug in A, B, and C. Of course, if we don't plug in A, B, and C, we don't know what they are, no matter what you do here, everything will be wrong. So we're going to do kind of like a step 0. So like on number, the directions say solve the equation equal to 0, and then identify A, B, and C. So it has to be equal to 0. So on here, you can see it's already equal to 0. So we just have to identify A, the number in front of the square term, B, -5, from the linear term, which is the x, and C, the number that's by itself, the constant. So it's C, constant, equal to 0. So like at number 14, we have A is equal to what? 4. 4 is in front of the square term. B is equal to? -2. Yes, this is not equal to 0, so you need to subtract 2x on both sides. And notice how we do put it right here. So we have 4x squared, then minus 2x, then plus 2. So C is equal. What about number 15? What is A, B, and C here? A is, B is, and C is -5. So this one we'd have to add x squared to both sides. Over here, number 16, A is, B is, C is, good. So adding 20x to both sides. And notice how we have to rearrange this a little bit. The x squared part needs to be in the front. So we use a little commutative property from top to bottom. This will be the case on your homework as well. So 1 and 2 on your homework already equal to 0. After that, not equal to 0, so you have to do this step first before starting the quadratic formula. What about here? What do we get for A on 6 and B? 0. C? What is it? Negative. So if you plug in 36, everything's going to be wrong. You don't want to be wrong before we even start this problem. And as you guys said, if there's something missing, like the linear term is missing, it's 0. There's no x term. Like there was on all of these, there's no x term, so it's just a 0. So what you don't want to do is say the first number is A and the second number is B. That would be wrong. That would, no pun intended. Here, same idea. A is, B is, and C is 0. By the way, how do we find the x-intercepts of this? For review. That equal to 0. How would you factor this? How would you solve this? Would you put in an x? Greatest common you can't, because there's no c. So remember, the GCF, this x here, the x does not work if there's no c value. If we have a z, and c is 0, then we have to just use GCF. So we factor out a 6x as a GCF. Right. And then 6 times what is 0? 0. What minus 6 is 0? 6. So your x-intercepts are 0 and 6. Cannot use the x here because we don't have a c value. Usually multiply a times c. But if c is 0, don't work. Alright. So let's go over to the quadratic formula. Let's go over to that. Get it started. Okay, please go ahead and copy this down. This is number 1. Onto the worksheet.
You want this on our homework?
You want this on notes? Yeah.
Copy this down on the worksheet I'm passing out.
I've seen this.
Did you see the other two names?
On the worksheet, please copy this down. This is what all the work will look like on each of the problems. You're going to start off with writing the quadratic formula. So much like the ABC, if you don't do ABC right, it doesn't matter, all this will be wrong. Another part of that is if you don't know the quadratic formula, it doesn't matter if you'll plug it into some other formula and it'll all be wrong. So those are the two crucial starting points. We have to know what A, B, and C are when it's equal to 0, and we actually have to know the quadratic formula exactly. So the first step is to just write the formula. The second line, write it down with just parentheses, plugging in A, B, and C. You plug in B twice, A twice, and C one time.
What's that?
This is 96. Sorry, a little smudge. So we have 10 squared is 100. Negative 4 times 4 times 6 is negative 96. Notice how the number, the 4 here is a negative. Every single problem will be like that because it's minus 4ac. So it'll be negative 4 times 2 numbers. Make sure you think of this as a negative. Then 100 minus 96 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 10 plus 2 is 12. 10 minus 2 is 8. So we have 12 over 8, 8 over 8, which is 3 over 2 reduced, and 1 reduced. So this is the work you'll have for each problem. Now, do you have to show all these steps for every single one?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Do you have to write the quadratic formula down first on every problem?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely.
Wait.
So now you have an exact model of what is expected of you and how much work should be there. Now realize, how difficult is the math?
Not too bad.
Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and a square root. The arithmetic is not the difficult part, but how come we don't have classes full of people getting 100% on quadratic formula problems? It's, I don't want to write out parentheses and then catch things like this. A negative outside and a negative inside is positive. That's one of the highest mistakes, highest rated mistakes I see when I grade. And also here, people forget that the minus 4 is a negative. So if you have negative 4 and if either A or C is negative, it will turn into a plus sign. Okay? All of them negative and it'll stay minus. So little negatives, of course, just like always, are the culprit of mistakes. But if you write all the work out, you will not have to worry about missing things. All right, so get that all written down, and we'll go ahead and start number 2. Go ahead and start number 2. All right, number 2. Go ahead and start by writing down the quadratic formula. Second step. Did you do this step or did you skip it? No. This should be your second step. Right there. You set it all up for you to plug in the value. I know it's tempting to just plug it all in and do it all one step because that's faster and I don't make mistakes, so it's okay. Don't have that attitude, just set it up. Just like we did with the rise over run, the slope, parentheses minus parentheses. Just set it up with the parentheses, then plug in negative 12, to the two B's. Then plug in 3, the two A's. Then plug in negative 96. Next step. Negative and negative. Positive. Plus or minus. We're going to do this part right here, negative 12 squared, 144. And then, as I mentioned before, negative 4 times 3 times negative 96 is
Plus.
positive 1, 1, 5, 2.
Did you just do that in your head?
All over 6. Do not skip any steps. I should see a step that has all that work. Equals 12 plus or minus root 1296 over 6. Square root of 1296 is? Whoops. Is what? 36. And you notice from here, from this point, this is a homework problem from last night. So everything you did last night was the second half of quadratic formula. Everything you did last night on the back was the second half of quadratic formula. So from here, it's just review. 12 plus 36 is
48.
48 over 6. 12 minus 36 is negative 24 over 6. So your two answers are in braces 8 and negative 4. So this is what the work should look like exactly. At any point you think, I will skip this because I don't want to do it, I want to go straight here. No. You're going for accuracy, not speed, or how little space can you take up without
Will there be decimals?
There will be decimals, yes. So when you get to number 4, you're going to need to start rounding and doing the same thing as you did last night.
Oh, with the little wiggly equal sign?
Yep, with this process.
Oh, the wiggly.
Yes, if you want to do GCF, you will get the same answer. Yep. Okay.